Hi there, everybody. I thought I would give you a little update on this creature once. We haven't had any huge developments, but I figure if I keep telling you about it, it'll keep me motivated to have some actual progress happening. So we had our first parts show up for it. Nothing earth-shattering, but I ordered all new felt wipers for it. I'm not going to put them in just yet. I found somebody that was reproducing these, but that was still, what was that, almost 40 bucks for the felt wipers. And just in case you're wondering, I figured I'd let you know I got in touch with Monarch. And the reason I'm buying felt wipers aftermarket, I'd already ordered those. So you've got to be as curious as I was, like, what does Monarch have for parts and just how expensive are they? So here's the deal. I sent them the serial number of this machine. They were very prompt, got back with me. So here I'm going to read you off the list of stuff that I ordered. So this wiper cover, they call it the wiper case. I think, I'm not really for sure. I think it's an iron casting maybe that's been machined up. Anyway, the end of it's broke off. That part, lead time, 8 to 10 weeks, so obviously they're going to make it. $360.82. Pretty sure I'm going to make one of those. Just saying, either that or find one used on the interweb. So here's the one that's real doozy. So this stop rod. Now, before I tell you this, please, somebody out there, just find one of these. Let me know what's out there, and don't charge me what Monarch thinks they're worth. So this stop rod, they say stop rod assembly. Now, I'm assuming by assembly they mean, I don't really know exactly what the factory is, but I think it's got some kind of a micrometer adjustment on that end, little handle on that end, inch graduations, and then, what is it, every inch or half an inch it's got notches in it. But it's not anything that crazy. Lead time, 6 weeks. So I'm assuming making one, once again, $2,197. I about fell over. Now, I understand these are nice lathes. They're expensive to build, but what are they making that dang thing out of? That I can't even get my brain wrapped around. I guess I'd have to see one in the flesh. They do have a used one available. They want 800 bucks for it. I'm going to tell you right now, if you call me up and say you're going to make me a bargain of a deal and sell me one for 400, I'm going to turn you down because it ain't worth that. I'll make something first. This, you can see there's this hillbilly spun hunk of, somebody turned down a hunk of pipe for a plug up here. That's the only part on the list that I was like, yeah, I'd probably pay that for it. They want 30 bucks for that. I'm probably going to go ahead and make one just because it's a piece of aluminum. That's the only part where I'm like, that's not out of sight. And then I asked them about a tailstock, and they just said no tailstock available. So that's the list of things that I asked them about. Now, here's the cool stuff. And this is the reason that sooner or later I will figure out how to give them some of my money. I probably will try ordering a manual or something from them just because they're very helpful. And, you know, I got to believe if you need a gear or something like that, maybe that ain't $2,000. But anyways, they have the original build sheet for this lathe, and they sent me a copy. So this was shipped to Buick Motor Division of GMC November 13th of 1944. So I'm very sure that this thing was not building cars. I'm going to have to research and see what Buick Motor Division was doing in World War II, but I doubt cars was much of it. I'm assuming they were probably building trains, tanks, planes, guns, something like that. I mean, tail end of World War II was very much in full swing, and nobody really knew how long it was going to last yet. November of 44, so I got to believe that they were full tilt on some kind of war production. So anyway, that's who it got purchased by. So apparently, I was thinking that over, it probably means that after the war, you think about, they would have been tooled up for some kind of war production. Well, after the war, they had to refit back to automotive, and they probably didn't have a lot of use for some of the machines that they bought under the war production plan, and that's probably why it's got that Mall Tool Company tag on it, is I would assume probably after the war. I mean, you think about this thing would have been a year old when everything came to a grinding halt, war production ceased, so it was practically a brand new lathe and probably almost immediately got bought, maybe by Mall, maybe by somebody else, but that would explain how come it got sent to Buick and then ended up somewhere else pretty quick. So I've heard that these things could be bought with different speed ranges on them that had to do with the pulleys they set them up with. And I think I believe that because the friend of mine has got one of these. His has a smaller pulley down on the motor. And And I had noticed that the tachometer read to 4,000 RPM, which is higher than I remember ever seeing on one of these. And right on the build sheet it says 4 to 4,000 RPM spindle speed range. So apparently, I don't know if it means it actually gets all the way to 4,000 or what, but I got to assume that's the fastest range they set one up for. I didn't even know they had them. I thought I'd seen them with like a 3 or 3,500 RPM top end. But anyways, so this thing, as far as I can tell, is basically a checklist build sheet where people were signing off on things being accomplished. I'm a little hazy on what some of it means, but it looks like the only two things, let's see here. I see a few things added on to the end. So it's got an adjustable head center. I'm not sure what they mean by that. If that's one of those tailstock centers that you can set offset for cutting tapers or what. Then it's got something that's just listed as tooling, and then high-duty tool post, a work light, and a removable anti-friction center. So, I mean, that's just a live center for the tailstock. But otherwise, everything else appears to be pretty standard. I don't see anything else that looks like it was custom or special that jumps out to me when I look at this thing. So anyway, obviously no taper attachment. That was one of the things I was curious about, was like, did it come when it got removed? No taper attachment. It's showing carriage micrometer stop. So apparently this mechanism was intact originally at some point. Let's see here. So it did come with a steady rest and a follow rest originally. Those are listed on here. You know what? I say that. I wonder if that got struck off because it's got X's stamped all through. So I wonder if this thing maybe originally got built with them and then Buick ordered it without that and they got taken off, because there's a few things on here, like it's got something about mount guards, and that's all stamped out. And then, oh, that's interesting. I said adjustable head center. That's actually got stamped out too. So apparently tool post got crossed off. So apparently they ordered it without the tool post. Very interesting. But anyways, pretty cool though that they keep good records and that they literally can still tell you what they did when they sold one new. So anyway, we're kind of in a holding pattern with this thing right now, because as much as I want to be messing with it, I'm very busy. And then the biggest thing is I'm waiting on getting parts. I'll show you, I took some video of a shot inside the electrical box, and I'll put that in here and let you guys take a look at that. But basically, I need a bunch of electrical parts and pieces before I dare put it under power. It's got all new oil in it. It would be ready to spin if electrically it was up for it. But at this point, I'm scheduled to go down to Indianapolis, what is that? Like the 6th, 7th, 8th, something like that of next month, and meet up with somebody and get a bunch of electrical plunder. That's from a lathe that somebody stripped all of it. I believe they have the motor generator unit. Theirs was the tube exciter model, and that's something where maybe if somebody out there knows, I don't know how many things are the same and how many are different between the exciter generator version and the tube exciter version, because I need some parts, some relay coils and stuff that are up in this box, and I don't know if they're going to be the same. So I'm taking a little bit of a wild goose chase trip down to Indianapolis, going to buy this stuff, bring it back, and see how much of it fits. You know, they've got like the potentiometer, the motor generator unit. So I mean, I'm hopeful that enough of this stuff is either interchangeable or adaptable enough that it's worth the trip. But anyway, so right now that's the plan. But in the meantime, I'm still very much looking for tailstock, stuff like this cover, this stop ride. If anybody out there is parting one of these out, I'd love to hear about any of those parts. And if you see something else in here, and for that matter, if anybody's got, I'd like to tool it up better. 4-jaw, 3-jaw, collet attachment stuff in the D13, which is what this is. I'd be interested in hearing about that stuff too, because that's all on the wish list to get this thing together, because honestly, if I can get the electrical stuff and get this thing, I'd like to see this lathe functioning by the first of the year. Now, whether that includes a tailstock on it, see, depends. I'm only allowed to spend so much money at a time, so we'll see. But that's really what I'm hoping for. We'll see if we get there. I'm not going to promise beautified, but I'd like to see operational by the first of the year. So anyway, I'll keep you posted on progress, but that's what's been happening.